Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We from Group 8 and we will present our analysis of leverage, growth rate, forecasting of manufacturing company. Let me introduce ourselves. My name Irsyad Nur Muhammad. Next.
Any Lubis?
My name is Aurelia.
My name is Kaisna Zaman.
Let's start the presentation. Next.
Okay, I will represent first company. Uh, it's from PT Unilever. From the analysis of PT Unilever Indonesia, there was an increase in DOM 2.697 in 2022 to 3.056 in 2023, and the DCF from 2.729 in 2022 to 3.089 in 2023. This increase is due to heavy investment in premium product segment, especially in beauty, personal care, product innovation, and distribution platform, as well as increasing the proportion of fixed costs. This is explained in one of the news on CNBC Indonesia. Next. DFL, which is used a measure of the use of debt to increase the profit potential of PT Unilever Indonesia, itself remains in the range of 1.01, which indicates that the debt structure and interest expense are relatively stable. However, the sales growth rate decreased due to consumer boycott related to the Israel-Palestinian geopolitical issue, which reduced market share and sales at the end of 2023. Benjia, president of Unilever Indonesia, also said that the decline market share occurred in almost all categories due to several things, one of which was negative consumer sentiments. This was said through the news. This is a Unilever fate amid boycotts and the onslaught of local brands. PT Unilever Indonesia also focused on 5 strategies priorities for recovery in 2024, but remains cautious of market sentiment. The 5 strategic priorities are strengthening core brands, creating new markets, improving market execution, increasing business impact, and strengthening commitment to sustainability, with a sharp focus on innovation and adaptation to rapid market change. PT Unilever Indonesia is optimistic to overcome challenge and drive sustainable growth. This news story is described in Strategy Business Unilever Indonesia. Next. Next is PE ratio. To search is earning per share equal stock price per share, which is 28.02. In 2023, PT Unilever Indonesia recorded a declining financial performance compared to 2022. Revenue fell from 41.2 trillion to 38.6 trillion, and net profit shrank from 5.36 trillion to 4.80 trillion. EPS also declined from 141 rupiah to 126 rupiah, reflecting a decline in the company's operational effectiveness. Nonetheless, operating leverage or DOL increased from 2.697 to 3.056, and the DCL growth from 2.729 to 3.089. This indicates a greater reliance on fixed costs and sensitivity to change in sales volume. Unilever strategy that focus on strengthening the premium segment and digitalizing distribution increase exposure to fixed costs. Although it has not yet had a significant impact on profit growth, increased leverage amidst declining earning has resulted in PE ratio of 28.02, a very high number that reflects a market valuation that is not yet in line with fundamental, indicating an overvalue risk. Thus, despite its strong brand, Unilever faced pressure to improve performance to match its valuation. Next is management evaluation. First is management background. Unilever Indonesia management is known for its professionalism and long-term sustainability focus, with strong expertise in management, marketing, and product innovation. The team also emphasized digitalization and eco-friendly product development. And the second one is legal track record. The company has a clean legal history, fully complying with industry regulation and government laws. It has strong governance and ethical standard and actively runs CSR programs aligned with international environmental and social norms. And the third one is PSP share ownership. The controlling shareholder is Unilever Overseas Holding BV, part of the Global Unilever Group. Shares are also widely held by the public, both domestically and internationally. And the first one is information transparency. As a listed company, Unilever Indonesia consistently publish financial and operational reports in line with OJK and IDX regulation. It provides annual, quarterly, and sustainability report and holds transparent general meeting of shareholder or GMS. And next, corporate action. The company has a stable track record of corporate action, focusing on regular dividend distribution, product innovation, digital transformation, and operational efficiency. Recent efforts are geared toward adopting a circular and sustainability business model. And the last one is IDX special notation. Unilever shares have never received any special notation from the Indonesia Stock Exchange, indicating healthy administrative, financial, and reporting practices.
Next is PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk. The leverage 2022 DOL is 1.72 and the DFL is 1.003 and the next is DCL is 1.77. The leverage 2023 is DOL 1.83 and DFL is 1.11 and the DCL is 2.03. The growth rate Indofood in 2022 the sales is 0.007879 and variable cost is minus 0.0157 and the EBIT is 2.84 and 19 and the EBT is 0.26 and 76. The net income is 0.25 and 0.3. EPS earning per share is 0.28 and 18. The forecasting, the sales is 112. The variable cost is 2,074. The EBIT is 290. The EBT is 19. The net income is 14. The earning per share is 100. The next. Next, based on calculation by PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk, DOL rose from 1.72 in 2022 to 1.83 in 2023. They fell from 1.03 in 2022 to 1.11 in 2023, and HL from 1.77 in 2022 to 2.03 in 2023. This increase occurred because Indofood expand its production capacity and face a surge in raw material price, such as wheat and palm oil, resulting in higher fixed costs and interest expense. Indofood continue to increase its production capacity to meet market demand, particularly in the instant noodle segment. On the other hand, Indofood also increased its financing debt. To support expansion and operation, sales and profit at PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk are expected to continue growing, but margins will be squeezed due to rising global commodity price. Indofood is also project to continue growing in the future, particularly in the brand, consumer, product, and distribution segment. However, the company must manage risks related to fluctuation in raw material price, exchange rate, and the debt burden. These points are detailed in the news in left. Next, PE ratio. PE ratio of PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk is 7.65. In 2023, PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk financial performance demonstrate encouraging progress. While net profit climbed from 9.19 trillion to 11.49 trillion. Revenue increased marginally from 110.8 trillion to 111.7 trillion. Additionally, earning per share increased from 1724 to 1928. Leverage grew from 1.72 to 1.83. DOL from 1.03 to 1.11, and DCL from 1.77 to 2.003, all of which were indicative of higher financing and fixed costs. The development of manufacturing capacity and the rising cost of raw material had an impact on this increase. Nonetheless, robust profit growth continue to sustain this increase in leverage. Indofood is in a desirable position for investors seeking a mix between growth and fair value because of its rising profitability and low market valuation. Next. Management valuation from PT Indofood Sukses Makmur. And one management background, PT Indofood is one of Indonesian large food manufacturers found in 190 and currently led by Anthony Salim of the Salim Group. Under experienced management, Indofood implements a vertical integration strategy from upstart to downstream and has proven itself capable of facing market challenges both domestically and globally. And the second is legal track record. PT Indofood has a clean legal track record with no major case involving direct management, although Indomie product were once released in Taiwan and Australia. And the third is PSP share ownership. The controlling shareholder of Indofood is First Pacific Company Limited through Indofood Singapore Holding PTE Ltd. First Pacific is based in Hong Kong and invests in the food infrastructure and telecommunication sector. And the next is information transparency. As a public company, Indofood complies with the information disclosure rules of the OJK and IDX by regularly publishing financial report. And the next is corporate action. Indofood actively engages in corporate action such as dividend distribution, bond issue, and acquisition. In 2023, the company distributed dividend of 2.34 trillion and purchased shares in its subsidiary Indofood Agri Resource Ltd. And next is special notation BI. Indofood shares do not have a special notation from the IDX, indicating compliance with reporting requirement and healthy operational and financial condition. Next.
Okay, next, the PT Mayora Indah Tbk. This leverage analysis, leverage 20 and 2022, DOL is 2.810, DFL is 1.190, This DCL is 3.343, leverage 20 and 23. DOL is 1.95, DFL is 1.075, DCL is 2.096. Growth rate Mayora Indah Tbk sales is 0.0266. Variable cost is min 0.0316. EBIT is 0.7671. EBITDA is 0.99 and 11. Net income is 0.64 and 71. EPS is 0.64 and 37. Forecasting in sales is 30 million rupiah. Variable cost is 20 million rupiah. EBIT is 7 billion rupiah. EBT is 8 billion rupiah. Net income is 5 billion rupiah. And EPS is 235 rupiah. Next. In PT Mayora Indah Tbk, DOL fell from 2.8 and 10, 2022 to 1.95, 20 and 23. DFL from 1.1 and 19 from 2022 to 1.0775 from 2023. And the DCL from 3.343, 20 and 22 to 2.096 in 20 and 23. This happened because Mayora made production efficiency and also trends exposed to that fixed cost and interest expense disrupts. Mayora managed to interest in its net profit and sales significantly in 2023. This growth was supported by aggressive export expansion to more than 10 countries. Operational efficiency to automation and better supply chain management also improve profit margin. With sustainable efficiency strategy and overseas expansion, Mayora is projected to continue to grow in the coming years. Strengthening production technology and prudent financial management will keep leverage under control and profit interest. In addition, Mayora has reduced in debt, which make interest expense more measurable, so that the financial leverage will remain healthy. Next. Boleh kah? Next, PE ratio. PT Mayora Indah Tbk record excellent financial performance in 20 and 23. Revenue increased from 30.6 trillion rupiah to 30.5 trillion rupiah. And net profit jumped from 1.97 trillion rupiah to 3.24 trillion rupiah. EPS also rose significantly from 87 rupiah to rupiah. This performance was supported by expert market expansion and production effectively. In terms of leverage, there was a decline. The oil fell from 2.81 to 1.95. The oil fell from 1.19 to 1.075, and the DCL from 3.345 to 2.096. This indicates a desert reliance on fixed costs and debt, which is a positive signal for the company's finance stability. With a PE ratio valuation of 60.57, Mayora shares are fairly valued, reflecting strong growth prospect but not over. The combination of operation efficiency, expert growth, and prudent financial management makes Mayora PT Mayora Indah an attractive issue for investor with a long-term growth horizon. Next. Okay, the additional from PT Mayora, management evaluation. Number one, management background. PT Mayora Indah Tbk is aided by expert management with a clear vision to become a global consumer goods company, focusing on product innovation and international market expansion. Number two, legal track record. The company has a strong legal compliance record with no major legal cases or significant disputes in recent years. Next, number three, PSP share ownership. The majority of shares are controlled by the founding families Sutanto and Sutino Sudarjo, which ensure stability in the company's strategic directions market. And number four, information transparency. Is a public company Mayora regularly reports financial performance and other key information in accordance with OJK and EDX regulation, and actively share its sustainability initiative. Number five, corporate action. Mayora consistently distributes dividends and continues to expand its business to new production facilities, product diversification, and corporate bond issuance. And last one, IDX special notation. Mayora shares have not received any special notation from the Indonesia Stock Exchange, indicating good standing in terms of administration, complication, and financial reporting.
Now I'm gonna explain for PT Astra International Tbk. At PT Astra International, the DOL fell from 1.402 in 2022 to 1.338 in 2023. The DFL grew from 1.044 in 2022 to 1.06 in 2023, and the DCL fell from 1.463 in 2022 to 1.418 in 2023. For the growth rate in sales Astra, it's 0.0504, and for the variable cost is 0.0517. For the EBIT is 0.0966. For the EBITDA, 0.0861. For the net income is 0.1010, and for the EPS is 0.1692. For the forecasting in Astra, the sales is 332, and for the variable cost is 255. For the EBIT is 60, the EBITDA is 56. For the net income is 48, and for the EPS is 977. Astra has implemented operational efficiency and digital transformation, but investment in electric and infrastructure has increased interest expense. Astra President Director Johnny Gunarto Chondros said that to accelerate digital transformation, Astra has been pioneering Astra Digital for several years with the aim of making Astra an intelligent and agile company so that it remains relevant in this era of dynamic change and continues to be relevant in the future. The Astra Group's digital transformation approach is not only aimed at supporting operational activities and value creation within the Astra Group. It also adopts a digital economy embracing approach where Astra actively explores startups and sales and profit at PT Astra International have grown steadily, supported by business diversification and the growth of electric. The automotive segment remains the backbone, while financial service, heavy equipment, meaning construction and energy, also contribute significantly. Stable revenue growth and the strengthening of the electric segment demonstrate that Astra is able to maintain business stability amid global and domestic economic challenge. Astra is expected to remain stable and grow, particularly in the automotive and electric vehicle segments. Astra has allocated capital expenditure or CapEx to its core business sectors, including automotive, financial service, mining, equipment, agribusiness, and infrastructure such as property. Johnny explained that the reduction in CapEx allocation is due to the weakening purchasing power of the public and economic volatility at the global level. Further, for the PE ratio in PT Astra International, it's recorded stable financial growth. Revenue grow from 301 trillion to 316 trillion, and the net profit increased from 40 trillion to 44 trillion. EPS also growth from 715 to 836. Despite the improved financial performance, the company leverage showed a stable downward trend. The DOL fell from 1.402 to 1.3338, and the DCL from 1.463 to 1.418, while the FL increased slightly from 1.044 to 1.06. This decrease in DOL and DCL indicate improved operational efficiency despite investment in infrastructure and electric. This proves that Astra is able to maintain financial stability despite its digital transformation. Astra PE ratio is at low level at 5.62, indicating that the stock is highly undervalued by the market with strong fundamentals, business diversification, and attractive valuation. Astra is a prime candidate for value investing. So evaluation, the first one is management background. PT Astra International Tbk is one of the largest conglomerates in Indonesia, founded in 1657. The company is engaged in various key sectors such as automotive, financial service, heavy equipment, agribusiness, infrastructure, and information technology. The second one is legal track record. Throughout its decades of operation, the company has never recorded a major legal dispute that has had a significant impact on its operation or reputation. The third one is PSP share ownership. The ultimate controller at PT Astra International is Jardine Cycle and Carriage. That it's a multinational company that is a part of Singapore-based Jardine Matheson Group. The fourth one is information transparency. As a public company listed on the International Stock Exchange, Astra constantly submits financial reports on the other key information on a regular timely basis. The next one is corporate action. Astra International has an active corporate action history, including regular defined distribution, stock split, and corporate bond issuance to support business expansions. And the last one is IDX special notation. The shares of PT Astra International are not subject to any special notation by Indonesia Stock Exchange. So the conclusion, Indonesia manufacturing sector show high resiliency and adaptability during 2022 and 2023 through various leverage management strategies. Companies that expand tend to experience an increase in leverage, while those that focus on efficiency and restructuring manage to lower it. Cost efficiency, the diversification, and digitalization are key to maintaining financeability amid external pressure. Overall, the sector show positive growth prospect with more mature financial risk management. Okay, so that's all the presentation from our group on the company analysis in the manufacturing sector. We hope the information we've shared has been insightful. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.